Angels are real. You can see them, talk to them, hear and touch them. How do you describe angels? White with feathers, with halo, good looking? Do they smile or wink at you? Are they shy or friendly? I'd seen an angel. He wasn't actually my own guardian angel. He's just an angel sent by God for a purpose, and that is to accomplish something. This happened years ago at the airport of Cebu when some domestic flights were canceled. This I thought was a blessing in disguise, though I paid much for my cargo shipments. The weather was fine. The people were so nice. In addition to that, there's a bonus. There's no long queue. Let's go back to the angel I'd met. Maybe you're wondering how he looks like. Actually, he's not tall as how you visualize angel as gigantic or masculine and fierce looking. He was just petite. He doesn't have glossy white skin, but younger enough for a man of old age. His face looked so pleasant, though he appeared to be worried and ashamed when he approached me. Later did I realize that I did not even notice his coming when in fact I was facing that side of the road while waiting for a ride. Did he came from nowhere or am I just blind that I was slipped in? If hypnotism as a tactic for robbing was used, then I could have cried and regret for giving in to his plea right away. But it's not. Friends, how would you attend to a stranger who would ask for help? Will you look at him from head to toe to find out if he looks pitiful and deserving of your help? Or if he does look so poor, will you waste time interrogating him to know if he really is telling the truth? Will you ignore him with a doubtful heart, especially because he grew up trained at school and by your parents not to talk to a stranger? Or will you just ignore him thinking, this is my money, so I have the right to say no? And the list is, will you just ignore and tell him, you better start looking for a job right now? Considering you would want to help, would you certainly help with conditions? Conditions such as posting them on social media so everyone could know you have a big heart or a hero that needs to be rewarded? Or if not, would you help but that person must pay back? In our country, it's not unusual to see beggars in the street, yet there are still unsympathetic people prejudicing them as criminals. My eagerness to share this experience was fueled by that something accomplished in me. It started with that old man appeared in front of me holding his 19 peso coins. While he was approaching, he's still glancing on his palm with coins in it. He's counting it and then later showed it to me. At first, I thought he'd give me those coins. He seemed he has just arrived from Manila and speaks fluent Tagalog. His voice sounded as if he was left with a single choice and that was to beg alms. He said, I'm so sorry to bother you, but my money is not enough to go home. I was run out of money. Do you have a little amount to add my coins here? I'm really sorry. I don't have other options. My heart was tendered by his facial expression and statement. He seemed hopeless at that moment. Danao City was situated in the northern province of Cebu, too far to be hiked from the airport. You'd have to hike miles away that could left you dog-tired. Otherwise, my mind shouted, it was your privilege to help, and now it is the time. I knew he was a bit embarrassed for doing so, but his face glowed when I asked at once, how much do you need? He said, 50 pesos. That amount was exact for him to arrive to northern Cebu by L300 van. If he could be one of the Budol Budol gang or Salisi gang, this is a group of syndicates popularized by their manipulative ways of stealing using hypnotism. Then he could have asked much more and I would have been willing to give any amount as demanded being under his belt. But he was too honest and polite that I was humbled. I felt I could not accept his thank you. I don't feel I deserve it. It's just a little amount and I don't deserve such grateful treatment from his end because he kept on thanking me and I was also repeating my line. Oh, no, I don't. No, don't mention it. When the yellow passenger cab finally arrived, he hurried to cross the road to ride in it. I could still see him waving and smiling at me as if we knew each other for so long and we need to part ways. It's so strange that I almost forgot that I was also waiting for a cab to ride. So I rushed towards the cab and got in, but I couldn't see him inside. When the car U-turned, he's nowhere to find. There's no building, room, or tree he could hide from. I could not see him inside the cab nor outside along the road. It happened with a blink of an eye. So if it's dark and I am just alone at that time, I might felt goosebumps. I could have thought that it's kind of... Anyway, think of what you want to think of. Ghosts are not real, but there are also falling angels all around us, and they could show up in the form of a man. But the truth is, I didn't feel even an inch of doubt or fear at that moment when that man disappeared. Whenever you have the chance to help, grab it. The proverbs "it's better to give than to receive" and "be a cheerful giver" were not only coded to inspire you to act, but for you to realize that something needs to be accomplished in you. Personally, that something was learned through giving. It's better to give. Faith without action is dead. After that incident, I felt real joy and peace. Giving cannot decrease what you have, it adds even more. It would fill the cup too much that there would be no room enough to receive it. As of tithing or giving your 10% to God, it teaches us not to be selfish and greedy. When you give or help, you are helped more than the one you helped, because you will be set free from greed or selfishness, and you would gain pure joy you could not imagine. That old man and his penny would never ever be forgotten. It's totally a different story from other beggars I've met. Those beggars beg for survival, making their stomach their master. They actually don't need to explain they need help, because you'll immediately notice they're hungry and need to be fed. If those beggars beg for spiritual food, how many of us would be willing to give? Or is there enough supply in our storehouse to combat their spiritual hunger? Or we also are beggars for spiritual food and needs to be helped with? I hope you will one of these days meet an angel. Who knows? Angels are among us. Perhaps you had already met one of them. Remember, they are God's mighty soldiers guarding each one of us. Hebrews 1:14 tells that angels are ministering spirits sent out to serve for the sake of those who are to inherit salvation. There are biblical proofs that angels could show up in the physical realm as a man like us. The first is to be found in Genesis 19 verses 1 to 2, when Lot sees angels and he assumes they are just men. It says, "The angels or the two angels arrived at Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When he saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. 'My lords,' he said, 'please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night and then go on your way early in the morning.' 'No,' they answered, 'we will spend the night in the square.'" The second one is when an angel appears to Gideon. Gideon addresses him as "Sir," and only realizes it is an angel after he disappears in a miraculous way. Please read Judges 6 verses 11 to 22. The third one was when the women who go into Jesus' grave, they see an angel there. He is described as a young man. Please read Mark 16 verse 5. As they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in white robes sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. However, regardless of how helpful angels are to us, we mustn't worship them because they are just servants of the Most High God. This testimony is not just about angels in a particular way or about supernatural events. It is also about giving in the goodness of God. Whatever you sow, you'll reap. God taught me to give. He sent that old man. True enough, a month after that, as I was about to board an airplane back to my hometown, of course I need to first check in my 2 trolley bags and 1 box of books and other stuff inside. I had an excess. I had to pay more than $1,000 for that excess. Yet, an airplane check-in agent talked to another passenger if he was willing to help me by sharing that excess because we only have less than 15 kilos check-in luggage. At first, I was reluctant to say yes to that agent because in the first place, I did not even ask her to do that. I felt shy to that man, and besides, I have enough money to pay for my excess check-in luggage. However, That man happily said yes. He was willing to put my exes in his charge. As a result, he and I would just pay less than 300 pesos. And that man would not even accept my money because he said he would just take care of it. At first, there was this tiny voice inside me asking, do I look poor or pitiful that they are so willing to help me? Anyway, that thought was brushed away when the Holy Spirit reminded me of the incident happened in that same airport a month ago. God spoke to my heart. I have prepared your heart for this thing, so you would not boast, but would know that I can work in extraordinary ways. Because that seed you planted to that man is a fruit that you are reaping right now. Luke 16:10-14 says, whoever can be trusted with small things can also be trusted with big things. Whoever is dishonest in little things will be dishonest in big things too. If you cannot be trusted with worldly riches, you will not be trusted with true riches. And if you cannot be trusted with the things that belong to someone else, you will not be given anything of your own. You cannot serve two masters at the same time. You will hate one master and love the other, or you will be loyal to one and not care about the other. You cannot serve God and money at the same time.